Now on a special edition of Jayhawk Insider, we visit the birthplace of basketball, Springfield, Massachusetts, once home to the game's inventor, and now forever a home to one of college basketball's best coaches, Bill Self.
I am incredibly proud to be the 5th head coach in KU history to join the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame.
We're with Coach Self every step of the way, and we sit down with Coach to look back at his big weekend.
I'm next to Fog Allen. My picture's right next to Fog Allen in the Hall of Fame and right above James Naismith.
Plus, we'll hear from those closest to Coach who made the trip to honor the latest Jayhawk legend.
He's able to be loved, respected, and feared all at the same time, which you have to have as a coach.
And we'll show you where KU's very first Hall of Famer spent his time before making his historic move to Lawrence. All that and more next on Jayhawk Insider, a celebration of self. Bill Self taking his rightful place in the honors ring right next to Fog Allen at the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. Hello and welcome to a special edition of Jayhawk Insider. I'm Rachel Kilmer. And the history of Kansas basketball, there have only been 8 head coaches. Now 5 of them are enshrined here in the Hall of Fame. So Bill Self had some big shoes to fill in his coaching career at KU, but safe to say he more than made his mark. Naismith, Allen, Brown, Williams, and now Self.
Walking into the hall and the arena and seeing all the portraits up top, and you look around and see everybody that's a part of that, it's pretty cool. It's humbling to be a part of that group.
Each of those KU legends has his own brand of coaching. Self's former players gather to celebrate his enshrinement, and they say his character is the biggest tool in his coaching skill set.
He's always been someone that's been about pouring his heart, pouring his life, pouring his best into his players and into those around him.
He's genuine, really smart, always thinking outside the box.
He's an X&O genius. Coach Self really flatters himself on being able to say, okay, if they do this, we'll just do this.
I think one of the things, he hasn't let any player break what he's trying to do. He's had a couple stubborn players, probably myself, down the path, but he hasn't let one player break what he's trying to do, and I think that's what makes him so great.
But no one knows these things better than Self's family. He opened his speech by thanking each of his loved ones. He also honored his father by having a favorite piece of advice from his dad etched in stone in the coach's circle.
Right there next to Churchill or Wooden or whoever, Bill Self Sr. quote.
Those words have served Self well. His wagon now overflowing with accolades as he adds a spot in the Hall of Fame to the list. All right, Bill Self, officially a Hall of Famer. How's it feel? Do you feel any different now?
No, I don't. It was a good time, but certainly, no, I don't think that tag, whatever, has changed much of anything.
In your Hall of Fame speech, the first people you thanked were your parents, and you read off your dad's quote, and he's kind of a Hall of Famer now too, because he has his own quote in the Hall of Fame. Don't worry about the mules, just load the wagon.
That's right.
How does that embody your upbringing, and do you think that's helped your coaching career in a way, the way you were brought up?
Oh, there's no question. It's influenced my coaching career tremendously, the way I was brought up. I don't know if the one quote was life-changing, but it's something that he always said, and I'm sure he got it from his dad. Just good old farm hands. Young kids living on the farm and picking cotton or doing whatever back to try to make ends meet. Back when he was growing up, I've always thought with him. I mean, he always made us work, but it was probably a much softer environment than what he actually grew up in. And if you ever complain about something, that's what he'd say. Hey, son, don't worry about the mules, just load the wagon. Basically, in his word, just do what I tell you to do and don't worry about anything else. But it is good, and it is kind of a process type saying. And all the family took pictures around the quote when they went up to Springfield, all the grandkids and everything. And so that was special to him. That meant a lot to him.
Yeah, that's very cool. When you were in college and thinking about starting your career as a basketball coach, is this something you pictured? What were your goals and aspirations when you're thinking about your coaching career as a college student?
We're going way back. I don't even know if I remember college. No. I never thought anything like that. I didn't even know things like this existed. I was raised in a educational family in that both my parents taught. Both my grandparents on my mom's side were teachers. We didn't even get past high school as far as our thinking. And then when you go to college, you start seeing some things, and maybe there could be some opportunities. But I got my degree in business, so I wasn't too serious about it. And then obviously opportunity knocked, and timing was right, and a lot of things worked out. But I never dreamed of this. I just wanted to, after I became a college assistant, I just dreamed of being a college head coach. I just want to be a college head coach. And I probably took a pretty risky job at Oral Roberts because I think I was the first coach that's ever coached at Oral Roberts that wasn't fired. So certainly a lot of people thought it was a dead end type deal, and we were so bad that nobody cared. We had 50 season ticket holders when I got the job, but Barry Henson and I were together from the beginning, but it was so much fun, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. I just didn't know if I was going to be any good at it. Going into it, I thought I'd be really good at it. I just thought I'd just outsmart folks. Well, once you get into it in any profession, you realize there's a lot of people in the profession that's a heck of a lot smarter than you. And certainly I learned that fast, that it was about players.
Mm-hmm. You talked about the timing worked out for you. Great timing. Two of the guys you coached under were Larry Brown and Eddie Sutton. So you just had some great mentors early in your career. What did you learn from those guys as an assistant that's carried with you throughout your head coaching career?
Well, I had three. You can add Leonard Hamilton, because I learned just as much from Leonard as I did anybody. But Larry was unique in that, first of all, I idolized him. I wanted to be just like him. I even got the big old lamps that he wore, back in the day. But I didn't know anything. And after being around him, I realized just how much I didn't know. But I learned so much because I was an infant. I mean, everything was just so new. So I tried to be a sponge and soak as much in as I could. And we had a great staff as well. Here at Kansas, but I was only here for a short period of time, so I go back to Oklahoma State, and Leonard Hamilton, those 4 years taught me how to work. Coach Brown, I could say, taught me about basketball, a lot of things. Coach Hamilton taught me how to work. He is as hard a working dude, and still to this day as there is, and he was obviously one of the game's best recruiters at the time, and still is, and we started from scratch back at OSU. I mean, so that was great. He got it to a pretty good level, and then Coach Sutton took over when he left, and I stayed with Coach, and then he took it to another level. So I learned and stole from all three of them.
More with Coach Self still to come. The weekly Coaches Conversation is brought to you by Salty Iguana, located at 6th and Wakarusa. Salty Iguana is your spot for Hawk Talk with Bill Self. Coming up, we'll tell you why this McDonald's may be the most historic spot in Springfield. But first, it was a who's who from Bill Self's past that gathered to honor their former coach. We'll get their reaction next on Jayhawk Insider, a celebration of self. Jayhawk Insider is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all, for less. This is Paul Endicott's letter sweater from 1923. He was a member of that Kansas Helms National Championship team. Welcome back to Jayhawk Insider. There are dozens of Kansas connections here at the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame. From former players and coaches to artifacts like that one, it's evident that the Kansas tree spreads far and wide. And it's clear that Bill Self's influence does as well, as more than 70 former players and coaches came to Springfield to celebrate Self's enshrinement.
I think one of the biggest things that I think that is so special with Coach Self is the relationship that he has with his players off the court. how he's helped us mature into grown men. He's just a guy that I can always lean on at any time of the day.
He's the same guy that he was at ORU, that he is at Kansas. He's never changed his values. He's always in it to help kids. He's always in it to make them better.
He's able to be loved, respected, and feared all at the same time, which you have to have as a coach.
He's such a good motivator and can kind of know how to pry people to get them to do things he wants them to do and break them down, but at the same time he'll build them up and have them sticking their chest out bigger than they ever have. So I think there's a variety of things that have got him to this point.
He has an ability, obviously, to make every person in front of them feel like they're the most important person in the room, but there's also an authenticity about that. I don't feel like I've never felt manipulated, never felt like he has an agenda. I actually feel like he really wants what's best for you.
One thing that we teach our players, and it comes from coach, you never say I. It's always we, us. And, even when he say I, he corrects himself and say we. And, I will always, I'm teaching my son that it's a team sport. And that's why he's always been successful, because he knows it takes, a family atmosphere, a family culture to win. And, when we say 1, 2, 3 family, we really mean it. And it starts with coach.
Coming up, more from Bill Self as he peeks ahead to the rest of his Hall of Fame coaching career. But first, walk where James Naismith walked in Springfield. From the campus at Springfield College to this McDonald's, we'll explain next on Jayhawk Insider, a celebration of self. Mason Square, one of many sites celebrating Dr. James Naismith's world-famous invention. Welcome back to Jayhawk Insider. We're here in Springfield, Massachusetts, of course, the birthplace of basketball. There are numerous historical buildings here in Springfield celebrating that creation, but surprisingly enough, maybe none as important as this McDonald's.
It's really hard to understand where basketball was first played because the building no longer exists.
This is the East Gymnasium on the campus of Springfield College. The floor is original, and it was the surface for one of the very first games of basketball ever played.
So that's the original building over there.
It just wasn't the location of the very first game, which brings us back to that other American institution.
What happens is they actually make it into a McDonald's.
That's all very ironic, considering Dr. James Naismith's motivation for the game.
Naismith creates the game to keep people healthy. And so in some ways, it's just kind of a funny little quirk of history, I guess you could call it.
It's no McDonald's, but the East Gym is still pretty historic. In fact, volleyball was given its name here. And there's proof that this is where Naismith played the sport he invented.
This is an early scorebook for basketball. It is from the 1894-95 season at Springfield College. Naismith, as far as I know, never scored any points, at least not for this season. But he committed fouls. All right, and so in this one you see there's 2 fouls, which I always found as funny because he creates the game so you don't injure each other.
Naismith also took his aggressive nature to the football field at Springfield College. His coach was the famous Alonzo Stack, who would eventually help Naismith find his way to Lawrence.
Naismith began to question everything that he was sort of doing. What is my purpose in life? Where am I supposed to go? He was talking to Stagg, and Stagg said, well, if you want to try to do something different, there's actually this position that's open at the University of Kansas. And then he helped give the recommendation and get him the job at the University of Kansas.
And the rest is history. Today, you'll find a lot of the same tributes on the Springfield and Lawrence campuses, and a shared appreciation for a great game, but also a great man with a noble mission.
Springfield College, from its inception until today, has had the same motto and belief, and that is in spirit, mind, and body, in service to others. And that is our belief today, and it was his belief then.
Coming up, we highlight Bill Self's induction speech, and we're back in Lawrence to find out what still drives this Hall of Fame head coach. That's next on Jayhawk Insider, a celebration of self. The Stars were out on the red carpet at Symphony Hall in Springfield, Massachusetts. Lots of familiar faces walking the red carpet at the 2017 Hall of Fame enshrinement. Welcome back to Jayhawk Insider. Coach Bill Self has coached on the biggest stages in college basketball, but he's maybe never been on a stage quite like this. Self says he spent hours honing in on the perfect speech for his enshrinement ceremony. Let's take a look back at the highlights from the 2017 Basketball Hall of Fame induction.
When I received the call from the president and CEO of the Hall, John DeLeva, that I was going to be inducted, I was literally driving to work, getting ready to pull into the parking garage at Allen Fieldhouse. I knew I'd lose reception if I went into the garage, so I kept going straight, and I turned right at the stop sign on the Naismith Drive. Getting that call, driving down Naismith Drive, the street in which I office, seemed so surreal to me. Kansas, a place where the game's inventor, Dr. James Naismith, was your first coach. Followed by Dr. Phog Allen, the father of basketball coaching. A university where Adolph Rupp, Ralph Miller, John McClendon, Dean Smith, Clyde Lavella, JoJo White, Lynette Woodard, and the incomparable Wilt Chamberlain all attended. I am incredibly proud to be the 5th head coach in KU history to join the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. James Naismith, Phog Allen, Larry Brown, Roy Williams, and me. What is wrong with that picture right there? I will never take this honor for granted, and I will be more humbled now than ever occupying an office on Naismith Drive. Thank you very much.
Back here with Bill Self, one of the newest Hall of Famers. In Springfield, you talked about how the orange jacket ceremony was kind of the first time it really hit you that this was happening. What range of emotions did you go through throughout the weekend as you processed what was happening to you?
Well, that day, if I remember right, that day is the first time that I had been in the hall. So we're in the back, and then they bring us out and they put the jacket on us, and then we sat on this stage. Well, on the stage, facing it, is pictures of every Hall of Famer that there's ever been all the way around in a circular fashion. And ours was up there. I mean, I'm looking at, I'm sitting with the other people and, you know, Tracy or whoever, and hey man, you see yourself, that's pretty cool. Ours is up there. And it hit me because and they do it by years, because James Naismith and Phog Allen were like the two beginners. So they start right here. Well, the newest inductees are butted up against the start. So it's like the start, and then it goes all the way around. Well, next year somebody else will be there, but I'm next to, you know, Phog Allen. My picture's right next to Phog Allen in the Hall of Fame, and right above James Naismith. That was kind of proud for me. So that kind of hit me, and then as the weekend went on, there were different things that hit me, and next thing you know, guys from Tulsa started showing up. Guys from Illinois started showing up. I mean, you had different guys start showing up. I had a guy that I coached that's 52 years old now, and I had my next, of course, he was also in my wedding, so he probably doesn't count because we were boys growing up. I had a guy that I coached that's 48. So I was basically 25 when he was 19 when we got him. And then I had you know, guys as young as Frank or whoever else that Wiggs or whatnot that were there. So they're ranging from 52 to 23, and that was neat to see how all those guys were interacting and telling stories, and that was proud to have all that group together.
Yeah. Well, now the dust is kind of settled on all the celebrations for the Hall of Fame experience, and as you said earlier, you still have some years ahead of you coaching. What's driving you now? What are your goals? What do you want to accomplish in these final years of your career?
Final years.
15, 20, you know, however many are left.
It won't be 20. You know, I really think, you know, we've done pretty well. We've won, you know, pretty consistently, but we haven't done what we set out to do. And we want to cut down nets on a Monday in April. That's what we want to do. Now, are there things more important And the older you get, you realize there's things more important than that one moment. Absolutely. There's, recruiting good kids and having them graduate and move on and be successful. That's what we do as coaches. But if you're going to work as hard as you work, and you're going to put in so much time, and you're going to demand so much from your kids, you might as well win. If you're going to be out here, you might as well win. And so that's how we've always looked at it, and I think that's how every coach looks at it. So that's what we want to do. We want to win championships, and we understand how hard it is, and you can be right and get upset, or you can be like our 2012 team that wasn't one of the very best teams, and still yet we play for it all. So much of it is timing and being hot at the right times, but that will always drive me. The one thing about life, I think, is people are motivated for different reasons. And some people are just naturally motivated. They're naturally competitive. Some people need a little carrot out there to kind of get them going more, and all those things. And those things are all fine. But the one thing that I have found out, when you experience something good, you want more of it. And that's what I would say now. We've experienced something good here. We want more of that.
So Bill Self takes his place alongside the greats from the entire history of basketball here at the Hall of Fame. But don't finish his exhibit just yet. Self surely has quite a few years left coaching, where he'll add to his already Hall of Fame worthy resume. From Springfield, that'll do it for Jayhawk Insider. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.